All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We're here back again with another live stream, and it feels like deja vu. It feels like deja vu after every match, especially. I can't even say this year. It was like this before the World Cup as well. It was like this last year as well. Wins are so difficult to come by. Very difficult to get wins. We can't buy wins, even after spending all that money. Look, I'm not gonna hide the fact that losing so many. Well, not losing, not winning. Two wins out of 14. That is the title of the show. 2 wins, 2 out of 14. 2 out of 14. I can't hide away from this fact. I really cannot hide away from this fact. But last night, in regards to Dortmund, I feel like we should have gotten a lot more. Definitely didn't deserve a loss, in my personal opinion. I felt like we created something, but having said all of that, having said that we should have won, we should have gotten something out of that game. We can't hide the fact that it's 2 out of 14. That's written on the papers. It's 2 out of 14. And what confidence do we have moving into this Southampton match? I mean, can we actually even say it's a guaranteed victory? And this is the issue. This is where I feel very vulnerable. This is where I feel very, very worried. And this is where I feel like, I don't know how I feel, man. Honestly, I don't know how I feel. I know it's a write-off. I know we've said that this is a write-off. Well, I've said this is a write-off. The reason why I've said this is a write-off is because the vibe I kind of get with our owners is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter this season. Whatever the results are, it doesn't matter. But I cannot fathom to think, how can we let it slide like this? This is so unheard of. This is something that none of us experience. I mean, I don't think anyone's ever expected to be rosy. But I don't think anyone's ever expected to be 2 out of 14. 2 wins out of 14. Do you know that's relegation form, man? That is quite bad. And what happens when you go on to the Southampton match and you don't win that? There's a large possibility. It could happen. They don't have a manager. They could be at their home ground. They could be really fighting for their life to stay afloat in the Premier League. And then you meet Dortmund at home with this stat hanging off the back. I think we can beat Dortmund. I think, as I said, we probably should have beaten them last night. But what do we do? And this is what I want to hear from you guys. I really do want to hear from you guys in the live chat. How are you guys feeling? Because I don't know, man. I mean, how far could we go? I mean, could it be 2 out of 15? Could it be 2 out of 16? Could it be 2 out of 17? I mean, does it matter? Does this season matter? Does anything matter? But yeah, the match against Dortmund, it was an improvement in terms of the performance on its own, but the result counts. The result has to go side by side with the performance. And I guess the question is, when does results become an issue for the owners? Can they just put a blind eye for the rest of the season? Yeah, that's where I'm a little bit confused. I am 100% confident, Miz, we will win the return leg with higher goal difference. I hope so. I really do hope so. Let's see what Ivan is saying. Do you think Mudryk could have helped Enzo with tracking back faster when they scored? Do you think there could be motivational problems for some players under Potter? Look, to answer your first question, could Mudryk have done better? Look, the whole setup, not anticipating that there could be a counter-attack, I think that's naive. We saw what happened to Everton a couple of days ago, where Liverpool launched a counter-attack off the back of an Everton corner. You've got to anticipate. You have to anticipate that there can be a counter. And I don't think Chelsea really anticipated that. They just left Enzo Fernandez by himself. I feel like there should always be at least two hanging back. And those two should be in close proximity, not far away from each other. They should stay close, compact. You'll see some of the best defenses are when things are compact. Obviously, this was a counter-attack, but I'm just a bit baffled that we only left one person at the back. Someone should have really called out. I feel like maybe at that moment, Enzo Fernandez could have called out, hey, there needs to be someone there. And maybe even from the coaching side could have said someone hang back. In regards to motivational factors, yeah, perhaps there are players that are not motivated. But it doesn't seem like it, because Thiago Silva has a lot of good things to say about Potter. Reece James has a lot of good things to say about Potter. We've got the, mentality coach, the mentality, guy from New Zealand rugby union team to help us out with motivational side of things. It's tough. It's tough to not get wins, man. It really is. You best believe any other, like if this was during Roman times, 2 out of 14, that's sackable. That's absolutely sackable. And I get it. Some people will say, well, thank God we're not under Roman. Thank God we're under the new ownership. But 2 out of 14 is mad. It's mad. Even from a logical standpoint, 2 wins out of 14 is pretty crazy. Miz, we're going through some problems as Brighton where they outperform XG every game but lose or draw. This is true. I think last season Brighton went through a particular phase where they were outperforming XG, but they didn't pick up the wins. And I get it. Our XG in the last few games have been good, but we can't put those goals away. Now, how long do you wait until it turns around? Maybe some of these players just can't put the ball. Havertz is one prime suspect. I know the game against Dortmund, it was João Felix. But we've seen many other miss on a regular basis. We've seen many other misses. It's mad. We are screaming out for a striker. There's no doubt about that. We are screaming out for a striker. And I know there's been some recent rumors about Neymar, and I'm like, well, you've got João Felix, you're bringing in Nkunku. There's no need for Neymar as well. As great as Neymar is, and I would love to have him at Chelsea Football Club, to have a legendary player like that. But there's no need for it anymore. We need a striker that's going to bang in goals. We lack a striker. And the crazy part is we have one in the sense of Aubameyang, but he's not going to be given a go. I don't understand why Graham Potter is so hell-bent on Kai Havertz. You got to find ways to just pick up some victories now, and I feel like someone like Aubameyang could help you with that cause. And in the Premier League, if you don't want to use Aubameyang, then use David Datra Fofana. It's mad. It's not the time for Graham Potter to be egotistic about, I've made my mind up. Aubameyang's not my player. He's abolished from the group, and this is what it is. I feel like this is a time where you reach out and you find out who can help you out. You keep your mind open and to see, can someone help me out? And then you make your decision in the summer whether you want certain players or not. Right now, you got to utilize whoever can help out. And right now, I don't think Havertz is really helping out. I don't think Hakim Ziyech is really helping out. I don't understand why Chukwuemeka doesn't get used a little bit more. I think Chukwuemeka could help out a little bit. The few times he's come off the bench, he's looked good. I know in the Champions League it's very difficult, and we had some injuries as well. And the fact that Madueke cannot be registered for the Champions League, you're stuck with Ziyech, no problems. But in the Premier League, you have options. Especially David Datra Fofana, you have options. Miss, 2 out of 14, not good enough. My concern is, can Potter even motivate our new players? Look, it looks like the players are behind Graham Potter. I don't know whether they're doing this for PR. I don't know whether they're doing this to show the fans that, we believe in Graham Potter. I'm not sure because it feels a bit forced. Every player coming out and saying, Potter's a great manager, this, that, the other. But then again, maybe it's not forced. Maybe the players genuinely feel this way about Graham Potter. But can he motivate? I'm sure there are certain players that just don't feel like they belong. I'm sure of it. But he's got to find a way. He has to find a way, or else this 2 out of 14 is starting to look like a joke, man. It could very easily be 2 out of 15. Then what? Could be 2 out of 16. Then what? Do you know what I mean? Aragono, thank you so much for the super chat. My man, Potter fave scoreline 1-1, 31% win rate. 31% win rate. That's scary, man. 31% win rate is very scary. That's not Chelsea level. I'm sorry. That's not Chelsea level, man. Gunjal, thank you so much for the super chat. Even though we are 2 out of 14, I saw some sort of improvements in the recent past. My only concern is game tactics. Example, starting with Kai and use Mount and Connor. Rest is fine. Now, you're right. Look, I've seen some improvements as well. But is that it? Like, the results matter, no? The results matter. And, as someone said in the live chat previously, that Brighton went through the same phase last season where they were exceeding an XG, but they weren't picking up the wins. I mean, it's great exceeding XG because it kind of gives you the indication that the team's in the right moment, the team's moving in the right direction. It's just a matter of time until those goals go in. But those goals, we're relying on a player that's not going to put those goals in. You have to change. You have to give a different personality and opportunity up front. And I feel like this is where sometimes Graham Potter, I don't know whether getting rid of Aubameyang was that wise. It will take Potter 2 to 3 years to get us where he wants. We either be patient or change manager. I'm okay to be patient. I don't think people are not willing to be patient, but 2 to 3 years? I mean, that 2 to 3 years was Brighton. You'd think we have better facilities. You think we have far more ingredients. You think we have a greater capacity to get to that level quicker. And I know some people will throw in the Arsenal situation. No, Arsenal were in the mud for a very long time. It didn't take Arsenal 2 to 3 years. Arsenal have been in the mud for the past 20 years. People forget. People only look at Arsenal during Arteta period. And even in Arteta period, what have they done? What have they done? They just won one FA Cup and now they're about to bottle the Premier League. They had a big lead. But people only look at Arsenal just for that Arteta period. Arsenal's been in the mud for a long time, my man. Yeah, they picked up some FA Cups here and there, but they've not been in the Champions League for 7 years. Do you know what I mean? Look, I guess time will tell. Yeah, I guess time will tell. I can only imagine how it's going to feel if we don't get the victory against Southampton, man. I'm just worried. I'm really worried. If we don't get that win against Southampton, a particular team that is smack bang in the bottom of the Premier League without a manager, I don't know how long we can just keep using that. The performance are showing good direction. Results need to be picked up. I don't know how long we can keep providing the argument that the XG is great. We've got to pick up the victories. Valan, thank you so much for the super chat. If Arteta and Arsenal don't win the league, then what process are the Chelsea owners planning to emulate? Wouldn't it be a failure? I mean, I think if Arsenal don't win the league from where they were, maybe beginning of the season, that wasn't their ambition. It was probably just top 4. But the position they were in, to not win it from there, I think that's a failure. That has to be, that's a bottle job. That is an absolute bottle job. And then what? Emulate a particular scenario that's gone from 8th, 5th, and God knows, I don't know how Arsenal's going to turn out. They seem like they're in a bit of a mud. You never know. Even Man United could catch up to them. I'd rather us emulate what Eddie Howe's done. I'd rather us emulate what Ten Hag's doing. You know, Eddie Howe, Ten Hag, they're getting the tune out of some players. Do you know what I mean? We can't seem to buy a goal anymore, man. Yeah, our standard attackers are João Felix and Enzo Fernandez, no problems. But we don't have a particular player that just bangs in goals. Like you have Rashford at Man United, just bangs in goals. Newcastle's in a bit of a weird situation at the moment. But they were playing good as well at one point. Arsenal, one thing they can definitely take some pride in is they've improved their quality of football. There's no doubt about that. They've improved their quality of football. But in recent times, they've also shown that they can be beat. They can be beat. Alex Abhishek Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Potter has been hired for 7 years, if I'm not wrong. I think it's 6. Imagine paying, 6, 7, who cares? Imagine paying him off his contract. That's close to 80 to 90 million. Maybe that's where the issue lies. Look, of course, it matters. That contract is a huge ass contract, no doubt about that. But the level of money that our owners are dishing out for players, if they really wanted to part ways, I think they can. I think they can. I still believe our owners potentially won't do anything this season. But it's mad. It's mad. Like, surely the owners, and these owners, they're going to the match and they're watching it as well. Okay. West Ham, up to about 30 minutes, we were very good. After that, I don't think we were that great. Against Dortmund, I think our overall performance was good. I think we should have won. But these owners, they can't be going into the match feeling that, the performances are going the right direction. Sooner or later, they're going to be like, the results got to go the right direction as well. The results have to go the right direction. Valley, thank you so much for the super chat. These attackers without Felix have been underperforming for numerous years. We are here because of them. And where is the pressure from the owners for Potter? Yeah, I mean, these owners, like, every time we have a negative result, all of these English media will come out with articles saying that, owners are backing Graham Potter, owners are protecting Graham Potter, owners have full faith in Graham Potter. They've done a 100-day review on Graham Potter, and Graham Potter passes with flying colors. They really, really like Potter a lot. They really do. Because I think the owners are trying to play safe to not look dumb, giving 5 years plus spending 600 million. Do you know what? Bringing in Graham Potter was the owner's decision. I wonder what some of our new directors that have been brought in the likes of Christopher Vivell, in the likes of Lawrence Stewart, and the other members that have come in, Paul Winstanley, Joe Shields. I wonder what they feel about Graham Potter. Do you know what I mean? Like, because when Graham Potter was hired, none of these people were around. And I feel like, what do they think? Obviously, Paul Winstanley probably thinks highly about Graham Potter because he was in Brighton previously. So, yeah. I wonder if there is some sort of disagreement internally. I was at the game last night. A lot of the fans there said they want Potter gone. Really? That's news, because it kind of seems like the media is trying to showcase that the fans are behind Potter. The fans are behind. But interesting note. With the long contract that Potter got, I think they are going to give him a preseason at least. I wonder what that mentality monster thinks about Potter and his mentality. Yeah, I said this when that mentality monster was hired, that what does he actually think about Graham Potter? Graham Potter, prior to Chelsea, was managing Brighton. And honestly, Brighton went through a similar phase like this. Brighton went through like 3 months or something without winning. They played well. The XG was good. But they played like 3 months without winning. And then they get, that XG really started to change things around. I think it was from about late last season where they started to pick up wins. I'm happy to take that. If we can start changing our momentum from Southampton, if we can start picking up the wins, let's win against Southampton, then let's follow it up against Dortmund and go through into the next round. I'm happy to wait. But 2 out of 14, like I think a lot of us have waited a long time. It's time to deliver some victories. Imagine when it's 2 out of 15, 2 out of 16. If it's 2 out of 16, well, then we're out of the Champions League. I believe Potter cannot improve the team anymore. All that he can do, he had done it. It's hard for him to conjure up tactics he had never foreseen before. The standard is above his quality. Look, I mean, expectation at Brighton obviously is just to fight and avoid relegation. And if you can come into the mid-table area, perfect. Expectation at Chelsea is huge. And when teams play against Chelsea, they always want to give it their best. I don't know if that's always the feeling when he was at Brighton. Teams always probably looked at Brighton like, we can take them. We should try and beat them. And obviously at that time, some teams might disrespect Brighton. They pick up the win. And obviously there are other times where Brighton, of course, play well. But at Chelsea, the opposition's always on their toe. So Chelsea's always got to play well. And then, Chelsea's involved in the Champions League. You're going to come across some top teams. And kudos to Graham Potter. At least he's been able to take us from bottom of our group stage to basically lead that particular group, which has been a fantastic feat. But since then, it's been mad. And of course, there's been injuries, which has halted the situation. But now everyone's back. Everyone's slowly starting to get fit. Now we've got to pick up wins. I feel like there's no more excuse anymore. This upcoming match against Southampton, I think even the owners will have to start doubting. If we don't pick up a win against Southampton, even the owners need to start asking what is going on. Regardless of what the XG says against Southampton, the XG against Southampton could be very good for us. But if we don't get a win out of that, what does it matter? XGs don't give you 3 points, right? Gunjal, thanks so much for the super chat. I feel if we replicate the performance against Dortmund, we can overcome round of 16 at the bridge. There were only two good news from yesterday. One, raised our game, and two, Mount is out of the reserves fixture. Yeah, Mount is suspended. Mount's been invisible anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me whether he's in or not. It just gives another player an opportunity instead of him. But yeah, perhaps if we can conjure up those same opportunities, hopefully someone just puts it away. Aragono, thanks so much for the super chat. GP hates strikers with 3-word names, DDF and PEA. That's mad. That's a mad phenomenon. Talking about phenomenal Finn. I still retain my stance. This coach is a slow implementer, and that's good for Brighton, not for a big club like CFC. We need a coach who has faster implementation. We need a coach that has faster implementation and also that demands more from the players. I don't know. I don't know whether how harsh Potter is with the players. I feel like maybe he tries to get along with everyone. I don't know whether I saw an article or maybe I saw someone tweet this. It feels like Graham Potter, he wants to get along with everyone. I think it might have been a Brighton player, might have been an ex-Brighton player that said this. I can't remember who it was, but said that he loves to get along, like he gets along with everyone, which is great, but you got to be able to get the best out of some people, man. Sometimes you got to rattle them. Sometimes you can't be their friend. Sometimes you got to demand more. Sometimes you might have to be nasty. Sometimes you got to make them hate you to get the best out of them. Yeah, Pascal Gross. True, bro, you're right. Pascal Gross said that. I don't know if I want a nice guy all the time. At this point, I don't care if Southampton gets an OG and we win 1-0. Just want to see the 3 points. Yeah, man. Look, I couldn't care less. I don't care whether it's an own goal, whether this or the other. Just get that win, man, and then we can take that win against Dortmund and see what we can do there. When are we going to ask questions about the owners? Why are we keeping Potter? Look, the only reason why I've been avoiding asking questions to the owners is because I've seen the owners' ambitions, man. I've seen the owners' ambitions. Like, you saw what they did. They literally moved mountains in the January transfer window. So you can't blame their ambition. You can't really question them too much. They want the best for this football club. And they're looking to still do damage in the summer as well. And on top of that, the stadium redevelopment, sponsorship, marketing to increase our revenue, the multi-dimensional structure. Like, they've got plans. And this is why I don't want to be too harsh on them. But yes, why just stick around? Why just stick around with Potter? But maybe they want to just able to exhaust all avenues. They want to be able to exhaust all avenues before they pull the plug. Interesting to see Hansi Flick as well, again, in a Chelsea match. Of course, in Germany, it's hometown for Hansi Flick. So coincidence, maybe that he's shown up again. Is he watching Kai Havertz? Maybe. What's there to really watch in regards to Kai Havertz? I don't know. I don't know if there's something happening, something brewing in the background with Hansi Flick, all of a sudden interested to watch some Chelsea matches. I find it very difficult that he's only there to watch Havertz. Like, I'm sure you can do that from your TV. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on there. Valen, thanks so much for the super chat, my man. Miz, compare David Moyes' win percentage at United with Potter. Potter has also coached an expected win with Brighton. Nothing impressive. Yeah, this is what we're saying. This is what we've been saying, that similar thing happened to Graham Potter at Brighton, where he was winning a lot of the expected goals, ratios against other teams, but we've got to pick up the wins. It's time, bro. Miz 14, only 2. Tuchel's 61% win ratio. Some English bias fans want trust process. See Arteta now. We need a lead manager. Hansi Flick, bro. It was players excellent. No tactics from Potter. The team doesn't lack quality. It's Potter and his team's coaching. It's flawed but ineffective. Good on the eye with no end product. All the same as Brighton before. A lot of people are saying there's similarities between what Potter did in Brighton and the backroom stuff did at Brighton, starting to show at Chelsea Football Club too. Ms. Mudryk played well in the first game. Later on, his performance started to decline. I believe players will decline further if we won't win. Do you know what? Look, obviously we'll talk about Mudryk a lot more down the track. I don't want to smash him too much. That was a poor game from Mudryk. My younger brother, he WhatsApped me earlier today saying, "Man, thank you for stealing Mudryk away from us." He's an Arsenal fan. And I was laughing. I was like, wow, this guy's taking the piss now. And he also said, Mudryk made it look like, against grandfather James Milner, it looked like, oh, wow, something crazy is happening. This player is killing it. But of course, post that match, it's been a bit strange. But I've not given up. I still think Mudryk is quality, and we've got to be patient. We have to hold tight and just allow him to adapt to the English Premier League. And also, let's remember, he didn't have a preseason. He really started playing football from about November. So let's be patient. But a couple of his touches yesterday against Dortmund, they were mad. Especially the last one before he got substituted off. That brilliant ball from Koulibaly, I believe. And he was through. And that first touch was mad. That first touch was actually mad. Alhambra, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't understand the narrative that Potter's football takes time. Really, it's that complex. I've heard the opposite, that Potter is flexible. Did we really decide a style without technical directors? Look, I've said it many times recently, and I think Ryan has said this as well a few times on the channel, that I'm not too caught up on the style and structure right now. I'm more willing to see how Graham Potter grinds out wins. Do you know what I mean? You look at what Erik ten Hag did. He didn't just implement a style and a structure straight away. He was just trying his best to just stay afloat. In the beginning, it was difficult. They were getting battered. And then they were just picking up the wins here and there, counter-attacking football. They did what was natural to them, and they were just picking up wins. He was just trying to build momentum. Building momentum. If you guys have been watching the Big Six in recent times, and the Man City fans, the Man City, the representatives in Big Six will tell you, building momentum. It's about building momentum. That's what I wanted from Graham Potter. Just somehow pick up the victories. Shit house it if you have to. Pick up the victories, build a momentum, and then slowly start putting your structure and style. When you are on 2 out of 14, it's very difficult to build structure, very difficult to have a style. You're 2 out of 14, man. It's too difficult. But when you have a winning sort of momentum, it's easy to get the buy-in of everyone. Do you think these players, when they finish the match and every time they don't win, every time this goes from 2 out of 14 or 2 out of 15 or 2 out of 16, if this continues, do you think it's so difficult mentally to keep saying to yourself, continue on, continue? They're human beings. They will at times question and doubt whether it's them or is it the manager. Do you know what I mean? So got to pick up a victory. We're going to wrap things up very soon. Do you think the owners want a yes man? I don't know, man. I mean, what benefit do they have getting a yes man? You want a man that's going to be able to challenge their ideas. You want someone who's going to be able to, rattle the status quo so that they can get victories. I mean, what's the point of being a yes man and then you're 2 out of 14? I don't see any reason. Like, I'm not sure whether the owners, okay, well, Potter's a yes man, that's great, but he's 2 out of 14. Like, defies the purpose. Alhambra, thanks so much for the super chat. Absolutely agreed, Miz. If we're going to back Graham Potter, if we're going to back Graham Pulis, we need to trust he can be that guy when we need wins. The Dortmund second leg will test that. I think the Southampton game. I don't even think we should look too far ahead with Dortmund. I think win Southampton. Win against Southampton. And I'm telling you, this is not going to be easy away from home. It should be. It should be a clear-cut victory, but nothing's easy. Southampton don't have a manager. They're smack bang at the bottom of the pit at the moment, and they will try their level best to get a result. They beat us earlier this season under Thomas Tuchel. So, mad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap things up. Smash the like button before you go. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. You shall see me for another video later on tonight, UK time, before the matches start. Hopefully, I can drop that video. Just wrapping up the day's news in regards to Chelsea. So do look out for that. And yeah, as I said, more than 300 people live right now. It would be brilliant to get over 100 likes immediately. And we'll take it from there. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.